Hi, welcome back to the Future Skills podcast. I'm Charlotte, I'm guest hosting this episode. This week we are joined by Aaron Walstow, the director of Doncaster Cables. So tell us a little bit about your background then.
So my background, I've worked at Doncaster Cables for 15 years, lived in Doncaster all my life, never known anything different, so just proper Yorkshire. I started out at Doncaster Cables, I actually took a year out from university. So I took a year out from university, fell in love with manufacturing, never went back. So I started off in QC, and then I went and learnt more and more roles throughout the business. So I went from QC, assistant quality manager, technical manager, got involved a bit in sales, took over the factory as works manager probably about 4 years ago, and then was made a director about 2 years ago.
Sort of covered onto my next two questions, that really, sort of what got you into the manufacturing of cable. So
the manufacturing of cable, I came for a year out, and I just got transfixed with what they were doing here, really. So we had these few raw materials that we were purchasing, and we was making a finished product, and it was the whole ethos of the company was making something the best it possibly could be. So it wasn't just making something for making its sake. It's we're going to make this, but we're going to be the best at it, and just cutting no corners whatsoever. Proper British quality manufacturing, really, and that just resonated with me, and I just fell in love with it and stayed here ever since.
Sounds good. That sort of it follows on to another question that you answered before as well. Sort of what led you to be the director of Doncaster Cables?
Yeah, numerous things really. So I've been here, say, 15 years. I've just took every opportunity that I could. We're a family-owned business, and I think we're quite a unique business where if you're willing to put the hours in and learn, there's a structure there where someone will see your talents or your skills, and there's opportunities to take on more responsibility. We don't have set roles and set structures, so everyone has their own things that they're owning, but everyone will help somebody else, or there might not be somebody who does this particular role and it'll get picked up by somebody else. So yeah, it just gets picked up, so it's just a great opportunity to learn lots of different skills, and I was fortunate enough that I could get involved in all different areas of the business, from technical and manufacturing, some sales, did some work on the website, done work on reserves, rebates, bit of accounts, so just got to understand the whole business really.
Testing out a bit of the water and everything.
Yeah.
So one of the big things is like, what is the site capable of? And I know we've got the factory tour, we went on that today, which really enjoyed. How are you going to sort of incorporate that into our training when we've got our guys in centre?
Yeah, people love it. They love coming to site. They love how it's made, especially electricians. So the guys that came on the tour today, who were doing the training with yourselves, just absolutely loved it. And we try and show it off as much as we can. If we could take every electrician round, then we would do, but there's obviously a lot, so we have to sort of factor it in.
You have to start charging him on the side, won't you?
Yeah, we could do that. We could do a charge. We'll put it out on Instagram and we'll charge like £20 a tour. Yeah. That doesn't seem that
It'd
bad.
go down well.
Yeah, I'll just make a little side note. Charge for Doncaster Cables tours. Yeah, it's just great to show off the capabilities. So the capabilities of the site. We're the last cable manufacturer in the UK that can manufacture the full range of general wiring products and all the flexible cords. And if you look back in 1970s, that was the cable making heyday. So there was 45,000 employees in the cable making industry. Over 85% of all cable that was installed was made in the UK. And if you compare that to today, it's all gone. So it's all gone overseas, and it's 85% is now imported, and there's only 2,000 people employed in the cable making industry in the UK.
It's not quite a lot, that really, is it, when you think about how much cable gets made?
No, the change is phenomenal really, and with that came a race to the bottom. So we've had lots of stuff over the past 10 years where the quality's dropped substantially. About 10 years ago there was a recall of cable. So it was made by a company in Turkey called Atlas Cablo, and there was 20 million metres of cable actually had to be recalled from the UK marketplace, intentionally made undersized and less copper. And the problem with cables is you could have one that passes in your hand and one that fails massively and is going to risk burning a building down. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the two without having all the test kit behind it. So yeah, that race to the bottom really started when the imports came in. Everything got fixed on price and people de-engineered the products, and they made the radials smaller, put less copper in, they made compounds a lot cheaper, and we've really tried to stay away from that, and we have done throughout and will continue to do so. So ours is always sold on British manufacturing, British quality, and backed up with British service. So if people do have an issue, then they can come back to us and have a conversation and we can sort it out.
Do you take everyone on the tour?
Everyone that comes to site, yeah, love to come on the tour. Cameramen, probably the best. So any videographer or photographer.
In their element.
Yeah, you just sort of turn round and they'll be stuck at the first 10 yards when you walked in. So everything.
It was a bit like us today, that.
Yeah, you turn round and you've lost one. So everything's either really bright and shiny, so you get like magpie photographers looking at copper, or stuff's either spinning round really fast or moving really fast. So yeah, no, it is good fun to take people around though. And I think most people who leave always leave thinking, I didn't know that's what went into it, and I didn't know that there was that many processes. People wouldn't understand that we drew down all the copper. So we're buying the copper in 8mm thick rod. We're biting at 28 tonnes a time, and we draw that down on site into all the different wire diameters that we need. And then the compound plants, we'll make all our own PVC compounds. We can fine tune a grade then to match each specific cable. So with twin and earths, we'll design a grade that suits twin and earth and really easy stripping. We'll do another grade of compound for armoured that need impact and abrasion resistance. Or we can develop something completely new, like we did for EVIE Ultra with the Carbon Tech compound.
I find it fascinating that you make your own cable as well. It's great.
Yeah, it is. That's why I've been stuck here for 15 years. Still not got over it yet, I don't think.
Still in shock.
Yeah.
How much cable is made each day in the factory?
So we make over 1 million metres a week.
Wow.
In the factory. Processing hundreds of tonnes of copper, hundreds of tonnes of compound, but yeah, over 1 million metres a week. Testing is built into every single process, so we test raw materials when they come onto site. We test at every single stage of the manufacturing process, well above and beyond what the British standards say. So the British standard, for example, will say when you finish making the cable, do conductor resistance. We check conductor resistance at wire drawing and bunching, stranding, then again at insulation and layup. So we'll just continually test as much as we can whenever there's an opportunity. The operators are doing this day in, day out. We test every single drum of cable at high voltage. So the EVIE Ultra cable, 3,500 volts, test voltage to make sure it's electrically safe. And that's before we even get on to the laboratory where they're doing the in-depth type testing. So we have all the kit on site to do wide range of tests, mechanical tests, unaged, replicating the life of a cable, the zinc coating on galv, water absorption. I could go on for about 10 minutes, but you'd get bored. Yeah. But that's how I started off my career here, so that's what I've been used to.
It's good that you go so in depth with the testing though.
Yeah, it's just fundamental to our business. I think that's what made me like it so much. Whenever there's an opportunity to test, we will test.
Yeah.
We actually test some stuff that's not even included in the standard, so it's all about making a super premium product that is the best it possibly can be. But the thing we do different is aim it towards the installer. So we will try and find little bits that make the installer's life easier. So with Twin and Earth, we do that with the compound recipe to make it easy to strip. With low smoke and fume Twin and Earth, we do a different shape, so it's easier to strip, so it's like a figure of 8. And then the other end of the spectrum is completely challenging the norms and doing something innovative like we did with EVIE Ultra.
So we've heard you've been recently on the news, Sky News in particular. What brought this on?
Yeah, I'm like famous now, so I have to park people on the way to work wanting autographs. Now it came about last Tuesday. They rung us up basically to ask about commodity prices.
Yeah.
So it was the price of copper. and how it was affecting our business. So we answered the questions with the lady who rung up, and we just spoke about our site. So when we spoke about, we had 70 tonnes in the wire drawer at that stage, and that it had cost us an extra £60,000 compared to the week before to have that copper. The more we talked about the site, the more they got excited. And then about 40 minutes after the phone call, she rung back up and said, we'd like to send a news crew tomorrow morning. And then you just say yes, and then you're on Sky News.
On the news.
Yeah.
It gets your company out there, though. I guess that's one good thing.
Yeah, it was good. We had a lot of nice comments. People that I hadn't spoke to for a couple of years now. I just got random texts at about 10 to 8 at night. It was just before. Just before I went on the EVIE one. Just got phone started blinking. I've just seen you on Sky News. But no, it was good. It was a nice opportunity. But there's some real challenges with that. The commodity prices through COVID, if you look at just the price of copper, it was about £4,200 a tonne before COVID started. It was £7,400 a tonne.
Wow.
Probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then since the issue in Ukraine and the invasion of Ukraine, it actually topped out at £8,800 a tonne.
Wow.
Since dropped back to 8,100, so it's just a massive problem.
It's almost doubled, really, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's almost doubled, and the volatility that you get, it's when you actually order copper, you don't know what price you're paying. So this morning, I ordered 28 tonnes of copper. So we have to commit to that order in the morning, and then in the afternoon, they will come back and tell us what price the trading finished at. So you can order in the morning not knowing what price it finishes at. So there's quite a big risk, and it creates a lot of volatility in the marketplace. Then you're trying to pass that through price lists and give accurate pricing and absorb as much as you can. And then you've got all the polymers. So that's just copper. The price of silicon's nearly doubled. PVC is up 40%. Timber's gone through the roof. So it's just massive. The energy crisis that we've got at the moment is just pushing through the whole supply chain.
Has it affected the business badly, or?
Yeah, the business is still good. It's it has a massive effect. So when you've got people like the copper rod suppliers, they're transforming copper cathode into copper rod. And to transform the cathode into rod, it's a massively energy intensive process. So they have to melt all that cathode down. The price of gas has gone up by 10 times in the countries where we're buying copper from, so that transformation cost is 10 times as much, if you like. And then that has to pass down to the people who are stranding wire, and then it just goes down the whole supply chain, really. And again, it causes issues where people are getting price pressures, and it prompts people to try and find savings, and we get back to what we've had in the last decade, where people are trying to find savings, can very easily cut corners, and that's the real worry, that the quality in the marketplace might drop.
So tell us a little bit more about your EVIE Ultra cable that you manufacture.
Yeah, EVIE Ultra, so we've had this in the marketplace for, say, a couple of years. Before that, we had a 2-year research and development project, and it started off, we looked at the EV market, and people were actually cable tying power and data cables together. So that creates its own challenge, because power and data shouldn't be next to each other, they should be segregated. So we looked initially at trying to make a cable that gave enough separation between those two. And the more we looked at it and the challenges that we faced, we decided to really take on a massive challenge of looking at why you should segregate power and data and finding a technical solution to combining them completely. So over the space of 2 years, we made a lot of designs. We looked at the reasons why you can't put power and data next to each other, and then we overcome those reasons. So we developed in the end EVIE Ultra, which is power and data inside one cable. And with the facilities that we've got, we can do that consistently now. We put that into the marketplace. It got massive amounts of traction. So the electricians absolutely loved it, because it saved them time on the installs. It gave them a neater finish, so the end users liked it. And then it's grown from there. So we've got basic approval now. So we had this design that was accepted, and we wanted to take that to the next level. So we went to BASEC, the British Approval Service for cables, and we ask them to write a standard to prove that the cable is fit for purpose and offers at least the same degree of safety as an alternative, which they've done, and now it's audited by them ongoing. So we've got a fantastic cable, complete new innovation, patent pending, that is now third party accredited and gives people more of the time back. So they can either install more chargers if that's what they want to do. So people who were installing 2 can now install 3 and make more money. And I think the best scenario that I had so far is I had the similar conversation with an electrician, and he only needed 2 installs to get the lifestyle that he wanted.
Yeah.
So he used to do 2 installs in a day. Now he does 2 by 1:30, 2 o'clock.
Wow.
Because Oman spends the 3
Yeah.
hours with his kids and his wife. So if for him it were even
Works
more
well.
than, he wasn't just making more money, well, I know you've given me more
Yeah.
time with my family, so it were
It's
amazing.
a win-win.
Yeah, good.
Sort of moves on to my next question, really. So why should the installers use it?
So it's, apart from it being just a fantastic product and fully innovative, and I led that research, so I'm completely biased. It just saves them time. So the biggest selling points is they can do installs quicker, the finish is a lot neater, and it just makes it easier. They've only got 1 cable to
One
run
wire,
in.
yeah, 1 cable.
And then they've only got 1 cable to run in, so they don't have to run in 2. They then don't have to worry about cable tying the data to the power cable, and then they don't have to worry about, does that comply with the regs, because I shouldn't really be cable tying those together. The routing's just a lot easier, and now with the basic approval as well, they don't have to worry about, before we had some comments where it wasn't made to a British standard, so people would mark it as a departure from the regulations and have to explain why they've chose to use it. Now with the basic approval, that's completely gone, because the biggest lab in the UK is actually endorsing this product and saying this is fit for purpose, and it has now become the cable of choice for EVIE installs.
We've had a look at it, haven't we, briefly? You've got some on the table there. It's nice and neat.
Yeah, it's grown massively now. So we started off with 2 different lines, and the success has grown and grown. We've now got 17 different versions.
Wow.
So we've got a 2-core data cable version if someone is only using a CT clamp. We've got a 4-pair data version, 4-pair Cat5. So that can either do full Ethernet or it can do CT, and some electricians then use 2 pairs for a data connection. We do it in an armoured and an unarmoured version, so you can have it buried underground or you can have it clipped to a wall, and we've now got single phase and 3-phase versions, so it's already out there and ready for the commercial chargers that are coming out, the 3-phase 22 kilowatt chargers.
It's ever growing.
Yes, yeah. We'll have to stop at some point. We'll run out of warehouse
Run
space.
out. So we've just finished, obviously, the first course here at Doncaster Cables for us. How do you think that went today?
I think it went really well. Speaking to electricians afterwards, they all absolutely loved the factory tour, but there was some real positive feedback about the course itself, and you could see how excited and engaged they were to actually roll out into a market that is just booming and going to be massive. So the excitement to hear people wanting to transition into EV and finding the opportunity to do it through this course, it's just a super positive day, really.
How do you think, moving forward, the partnership with USG and Doncaster Cables is going to obviously go with the next? We've got quite a few courses, haven't we, booked up until June, I think?
Yes, we've got a few more courses penciled in at Doncaster Cables to run from here. Speaking to some electricians today, it were nice they were more local based, but it were nice to hear them say that they'd even travel. I think the actual tour around the factory was a massive selling point.
Seller, yeah. That's what everyone's talking about on it.
So that were really good. They get to go on a little cable making holiday and get a qualification while they're doing it.
I mean, for many of them, they won't have seen how, obviously they'll work with cable every day, and they probably haven't even seen how cable's even made, so that'll be good for them to see what they're working with and how it's made. Yeah,
I got that from them. I think they had this idea that it went into one machine and come out at the end finished.
Whole.
Whole and finished. Or it was an assembly line where it's packaged together, and to actually show them it's loads of individual processes which are planned and brought together, it were quite good.
It's an eye-opener, isn't it?
But the relationship with USG has been fantastic so far. So we're always looking to support local businesses. We've done some work with other colleges like Derby College and Doncaster College, and we continue to do that with some of the younger apprentice learners that are coming through. But yeah, I'm hoping the relationship goes from strength to strength and we can keep growing with each other, finding new opportunities, and the end result is to try and benefit the installers that are getting trained up.
Definitely. So we'll finish it off with a question that we like to ask everyone on our podcasts, which is a fun one. It's, what advice would you give to your younger self starting out?
That is a really difficult question. So off the top of my head, while I'm sat in front of a podcast microphone, I think the best bit of advice would be when someone first asks you, can you do this clip on video for us? Just say no. No. And then you don't end up on podcasts and Sky News and EVIE Live. So but you only get one chance. So when that first person comes and says, do you want to have a go at this? You should say, no, that's not for me. No, it's good. But no, it's a really difficult question because I just have a real passion for what I'm doing. I sort of stumbled into it, but I absolutely love it. When I was at university, my family have always been construction based. So I grew up building stuff and doing projects. But so I went to quantity surveying to do university. Yeah. But to stumble into this opportunity and a family-owned, family-run business, what was actually making something, there's not a lot that I actually regret, to be honest. Yeah. Apart from saying yes to that original... Yes to the
podcast and the video and Sky News.
Yeah.
We'll round it up, but it's been great talking to you. Thank you for having us on site. It's been great to have a factory tour. I really enjoyed that today.
No problem.
Thank you for tuning in and listening to this week's podcast, and thank you again, Aaron, for having us here on site. Don't forget to subscribe to wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll see you again in the next one.